Hello, my dear spa owners. This is our June numerology business forecast. I am so glad you're here. As I was making notes for this, I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to talk about it because we are entering into a 5 energy month. May was 4 energy. Now we're moving into the 5 energy, and I have had a lot of experience with the 5 energy, and I'll get into that a little bit later and share my personal experience and my business experience with it. Um, but first, I need to share with you what this 5 energy is all about. So we've wrapped up May, and that 4 builder energy that was all about building structure and stability. In our lens that we're working with, we're looking at the structure and stability of your business, uh, particularly the financial stability, the kind of the energetic stability that there is for you as an owner. So, I know that many of you were able to identify that you were definitely missing some basic foundational structure and systems in your business that would be actually hindering you from being able to leverage your business. So it kind of goes with that whole concept of, like, if you were to imagine, your business was 10 times as busy, would you be able to handle that kind of volume? If you've been in business for a while and you've got your systems running, then absolutely, it would probably be able to handle it. But for many of you that you've kind of been winging it in your business, maybe as a solo, and it's much easier to wing it and not have systems as a solo, but you do get to a point where you are too busy in the treatment room and you absolutely need systems and structure. This also really shows up for those of you that have teams or just starting to build a team. So, like, as the business gets more complicated, or sorry, as it gets bigger, it gets more complicated. And when things get more complicated, that is the flag in the play for you to, figure out which systems are needed to build that structure. So you can have a big influx of clientele coming in and you can handle it. Um, there's a kind of some thinking of like, well, I don't care if I can handle it. I just need the 10 times influx. The problem with that is that if your systems, or you don't have systems, if your systems are lacking and there's holes in them, the guest experience will be totally compromised. And it's so much more expensive to market than it is to retain. So this is another one of those big reasons to have systems, is so that it's easier for you to retain the new clients that are coming to you. You're not constantly trying to get fresh business in. And I know that's incredibly frustrating. We all dislike marketing in the spa industry. Some of us have learned to appreciate it. And some of us are still in the like pouty pants about, I don't like social media or any kind of marketing, and I don't want to do it. But I digress. Let's get back into the June forecast, and moving on from the topic of structures and systems from May. So we're now moving into 5. This is the next stage of our manifestation cycle, and 5 is the energy of change, period. And I will add to this, it's change for your greatest and highest good. Now, I don't know about you, but there have been plenty of times in my personal life and my business where there has been a ton of change, and I am not appreciating that this is for my greatest and highest good. Sometimes it takes a little bit, sometimes it takes us to get through the painful pieces to actually go through the change. And I'm going to get into it in a little bit about change because I just find this topic so fascinating. What makes change easier? Because none of us like change. Change is disruptive. If you've been listening to my forecast since January, I will also have mentioned that even numbers can be disruptive in numerology, and as far as energetics, and the even numbers just feel a little bit more stable. So we just came out of that stable 4, and now we're into this kicked up energy of the 5. It has a tendency to, as us humans, make us feel unstable because we don't like change. We resist change. But the truth of the matter is that our whole life, our whole kind of reason as a human is so that we get to choose at every moment, mostly every moment of our life, and especially as adults when we become more aware. When we have this awareness, then we get to choose. we get to make the choice and move forward with it. And I think that you would be able to agree with me that until we've made the choice, being in that change is extremely uncomfortable and can often be really, really painful. So, what I've noticed through my own life experience is that as soon as I make the decision in that change, whatever it is, there is like almost instant relief. Let me know if you resonate with that too, because I've definitely noticed that as a really key theme, particularly in the last 9 years for me, because I've actually been in a five energy season. And in numerology, we all have 4 9-year seasons in our life. And if you had a numerology blueprint reading with me, you know which season you're in right now. But this is something that you can find out in a blueprint reading is like, what are your seasons? At what age did they start? What ages are at each stage. So I'm actually just finishing a season of 9 years of 5 years of a 9-year season. So it has been, when I look back on it, there has been so much change. When I wasn't choosing was usually when I was feeling the most pain. And so I have come to understand change, and that the real interesting piece about change and this five energy is that it's all about freedom. Change gives us freedom. And sometimes we see it at the end of situations that's happened. But when we're in the middle of change, please understand it gives you a little bit of, it's like self-compassion, that this is about your freedom. Whatever this choice is, and any choice that comes up, it's about your freedom. You get to choose your own freedom. Now, the tricky part of freedom is that freedom only comes through discipline. Think about it. Think about those times in your life when you truly felt free, like true freedom. You were disciplined about something, whether it was saving to open up your spa business, whether it was getting in shape, for whatever reason. Maybe it was for your wedding, or maybe you're getting in shape for summer or whatever. You were commit, you decided, you made a choice, and continued to make choices via discipline, which gave you this freedom that you were looking for. So this concept of freedom through discipline is a huge it's a huge aha moment for me in a lot of moments in the past 9 years. But it's really hit home about how powerful the five energy can be. And by resisting it, it makes it a little harder. So I want to get into sharing the five energy, because five energy is just the five energy. It's the high vibration, low vibration, and we get to choose how we want to show up in each one of them. So let's talk about what the five high vibration looks like and how it shows up. So the high five is very much about freedom seeking. So somebody who is a ruling number five, I have quite a few ruling number fives in my friends group and my clients. And actually my soulmate client is a five of hearts. That's in cardology, which is part of numerology. So I really understand the five, and even before numerology, I was really understanding that kind of five energy person that is freedom seeking, that is an agent of change. Think about this. Yes, you are an agent of change. Think about the career that you went into. You literally are changing people's lives. And I know that you get frustrated when you are stalled out from being an agent of change. Um, Five energy is very curious. It's very, very playful. It's adventure. Five energy wants to screw work and get out and have some fun. Five energy is inner child. So again, getting back to that playfulness, that inner child, curiosity about life. It's fun. It's can be kind of part of that wild and free kind of vibration. And it's disciplined. There's the high vibration of five is understands that that freedom comes with discipline. And that when we're in the high five vibration, we're actually choosing, willingly choosing the discipline because we know it gives us the freedom. Um, the other thing about five energy, high five, is that it's assertive. And it's assertive because it knows what it wants. I want freedom. Like people who are a ruling number five or a life path five or a leadership code five, if you were to take away what makes them feel free, you may is like they just want to shrivel up and die. Like for example, I'm going to talk about my soul, my client, the five of hearts, you guys. You got into the spa industry because part of you wanted to feel free. You didn't feel like, being an employee was going to do it for you. You were craving that freedom. You were craving the financial freedom. You were craving the freedom to create your business, your brand, however you wanted. You're free to help support the people in your community in the way that you wanted to do it. So I know all of you, even if you're not a life path five, I know all of you have that really strong sense of like freedom or die. Like, I don't want to do this anymore if I don't feel free. And that's where a lot of you feel frustrated with your business, is that it's not generating the revenues that you are wanting. You're not seeing the clientele, like your ideal client's not coming in the door. And it's more than frustrating to you. It's literally like ripping away your freedom. And that is why it upsets you so much, and you get your knickers in a twist about it, because it's just so important to you. But it's also that assertive energy of like, I know what to do. Let's do this. Follow me. I'll lead the way. Um, There's also a strong sense of autonomy and sovereignty with this five energy because of the freedom. It's just like, do not hold me back. Do not tell me what to do. Don't give me any rules. I know me. I know my life. I know what I want. I know what my career to be. I know what I want this business to be. I know what I want my clients to feel, and that's exactly where I'm going. Have I hit on anything yet? All right, now let's talk about the low vibration of the five, because it does show up a lot in the spa industry, and we'll talk about how that shows up. First of all, I think you would agree. So if we're talking about freedom through discipline, I think that you can agree that all of us, many of us, most of us, have often struggled with discipline as entrepreneurs, as CEOs of our company, as leaders. And I get it. We were not, necessarily trained for that discipline, for the financials, for the strategy, for the, it's all the things that you need to be able to handle as a spa owner. Um, so and we know that we have the ability to have the discipline because we got this thing open and running. But it's really easy sometimes for that five energy to feel deflated. And then it's really easy to start lacking discipline. So, lack of discipline is, I'm going to ring this bell many, many times, um, because if you want freedom, it literally is the pathway through it is discipline. So we can't, it's that saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, there's lots of times when you can, but when it comes to freedom, no, you have to be disciplined. And you got to buy into that discipline. Like you got to want it. Because you know that not being disciplined is really not getting you where you want to go in your business. Um, the five again is disruption. It's disruptive. If you're feeling in the low vibe of the five, you can feel disruptive. Like, screw this shit. Like, ah. Um, and that disruptive energy can then also flip into being really getting yourself distracted, which is another low part of the five. So getting yourself distracted as an owner is things like, I'm going to redo my logo. I'm going to redo my brand when it really doesn't need to be redone. It's like, I'm going to buy a new piece of equipment. I'm going to bring in a new skincare line when the current skincare line isn't really selling currently. So there's lots of ways spa owners can distract themselves in this low vibration of five when they're not being disciplined in other areas. Excuse me. It's kind of like it's just kind of this wishful thinking, like wanting to just, turn your head to it, procrastinate about it, and I'll look at something else. It's going to give me these some feel good freedom vibes. And I want to also say that there is false freedom. And many of you understand this. So false freedom is it looks all good on the outside, but you are drowning in debt. Um, I mean, that's kind of the biggest piece that I see for spa owners is like they want to bring in new equipment when they already can't afford what the expenses that they have. Or they want to hire a new team member and they don't realize like they haven't done the work to make sure they really do need a staff member. And it becomes more about, oh, we're building and building. There's a little bit of ego involved in that. So catch and watch and be aware of where there's false freedom, because that false freedom is actually, it really is holding you back. So it's an opportunity to have a little check-in with yourself. Other false freedom would look like bringing on a business partner when you really don't want one, but you financially feel you should. You're now a partnership and you have much less freedom to do exactly what you want. So I think that, if you have other examples of where you are been able to identify your false freedoms, pop them in the comments or for wherever you're listening. Because it's always interesting to see where we thought we were free, but not so much when we really think about it. And all of this isn't to like pick us apart or, be critical. It's really just to awaken those sleepy parts of ourselves that need some waking up, because there's a big part of you that is awake and wants to deal with all of the stuff that isn't working. But if you've got some like sleepy belief systems in there about discipline, about freedom, then it's probably time to start exploring what's going on there, because it's absolutely sabotaging. Um, Feeling restricted is a low vibration of the 5, of course. If we don't feel freedom, we feel restricted. Um, when we're cash strapped, that's the low vibe of the 5. It's restricted. Shiny object syndrome, again, that's that distraction piece. Like you have a tendency to want to get distracted when, we're avoiding change in one area. Well, like, oh, look, I'm going to change something else over in this area. The other area that I do see when it comes to avoiding change is you start looking at other people's stuff that they should do. But you're avoiding your own stuff. So that's another little flag in the play. If you're noticing you're getting a little bit, oh, you should to other people, and have not been following your own advice. We all do that, right? It's just about awareness. Competitiveness is a low vibration of 5, and trapped emotions. That's all tied into that feeling restricted. It's usually because there's emotions that are also feeling like they can't be expressed. It's not safe to express them. You don't know how to verbally express them. You're not used to expressing them. But that 5 wild and free energy, it wants to be expressive. So I encourage you to explore those low parts of the 5 vibration of any that you've identified. Okay, now I thought what was really interesting too is we're talking about change. We're talking about discipline through freedom. And quite a few years ago, my mom gave me these cards, and they're by Elohim. And my mom actually designed them. So Elohim, it was I can't remember the lady's name, but Elohim is who she channels. And my mom was working with her. My mom's a digital artist, and she was working with her to do like a deck. And essentially, it's like it was a deck of cards with Elohim quotes on it. So there's one: through the act of loving yourself, you give the gift of the truth of you to this world. So I've kept these little cards. I've had them for years. I've kept these little cards around, and I kind of have them propped up around my office and stuff like that. But one of them, I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. I loved it. And I'll show it to you. It says, change is rarely easy, yet staying the same offers no relief from suffering. Right? Here we go. Isn't that beautiful? Change is rarely easy, Yet staying the same offers no relief from suffering. So what that reminds me of is the fact that, yeah, we can often be really resistant to change. Yet when we think about it, the longer we resist, the more we stay in the suffering. So it also leads to a phrase I've heard before many times, and I remind myself of this many times, that this is, if I'm going through a difficult period of time or a difficult moment, I try to remember this is happening for me, not to me. So it's really kind of zooming out into that really big picture of life and soul purpose, and that we're just all a bunch of soul beings living this human experience in a skin suit, getting to make choices every day, choices to either raise our vibration or lower it or just stay the same. That's what all of these choices are about. So if you are going through change right now, write this down. This is happening for me, not to me. And you may not understand why it's happening for you right now. A lot of times we don't see that until after, but it really does help to soothe that aspect of that disruptiveness of a change. So one of the other pieces I want to bring up after talking about this 5 energy coming up in June. So be prepared for this topic of change and freedom through discipline to come up. Um, Business growth often comes through personal development, and personal development comes through getting triggered, and getting triggered comes through having to make changes. Like, things are in front of us that we need to make changes. So it's okay. I often say that, your business is your biggest life coach that you could ever have, like, and the best life coach that you could ever have or ever pay for, because it will always poke at you kind of where the places in you that still need healing. So looking at this month from the lens of change, what looks like is coming up for change in your business? What are things that you're aware that and actively changing yourself? I think it's more about looking at the things that's the lack of discipline is really what I want to talk about this month with the 5 energy, is really looking in those areas and being super honest in a compassionate, loving way about where we could have more discipline, because it will automatically give you more freedom. And when I'm talking about freedom, I'm not talking about financial freedom. I'm talking about freedom of the heart. I'm talking about your physical freedom. I'm talking about, like, it's summer and I know the energy of summer has you wanting to get out and play, whether it's time with your kids or your spouse or your friends, or it's time quiet for yourself. But that energy, the summer energy, is going to be calling you to want to play and have fun. And the 5 energy of June is going to poke at you for the same things. So, looking at those places in your business that requires a little bit more discipline, we can get on that. Maybe isn't giving us the freedom that we thought, that's an opportunity to change it. If that's not making me feel free, I need to phase this out. I want to feel free. That is my focus. And this month, as far as like, if there's this discipline and freedom, but I really want to make sure that you are also engaging in the energy of adventure and play and playfulness and fun, because that is what helps with that feeling of freedom. So, May, the energy of May, the structure and building of foundation, that was all set up to help you in this 5 energy month, shake it up a little. Now that you've got some structure and foundation on things, okay, we can just sit in it for a bit, let it run. How is it working? Is there any course corrections that we need to do now that we've got that piece done? That's a perfect 5 energy strategy for your business going into June. So for me, I want to share just a little bit about how I've experienced the 5 energy. So I've gone through a lot of stuff in the past nine years in terms of my personal life. a blended family. I've got two neurodivergent kids. I've had one of them had some, pretty substantial mental health issues. I had a husband go through his master's, which with three teenagers, oh my God. Um, and then in 2020, it started getting really intense with my son had a car accident. We had multiple deaths in the family. My husband had a heart attack. Like it feels like it's been intense nonstop for 9 years with the last four, really, really ramping up. And, I feel like I can look back on that because my birthday is June 22nd. And so as of June 22nd, I'm going to be moving out of a 5 energy and moving into a 6 energy season for 9 years. And so I'm actually, this month I've been reflecting back on that past 9 years and all of that change that happened. And it was felt so disruptive. There was a lot of happiness, but there was also a lot of disruption. Um, and when I look back at now with the lens of numerology, I wish I had that lens, a stronger lens back then, to see all the places where it was just asking me to choose. Because I also recognize in a lot of those places I wasn't choosing. I wasn't choosing because I was wanting to make things easier for my family. I wasn't choosing some things because I wanted to make it easier for my business. So now reflecting on that, I realize that the stuff that comes up is really just an opportunity for me to check in. What is good for my greatest and highest good? Now, I know that many of you have children and family members you have to take care of, but I still urge you to come back to that is what feels right for my greatest and highest good. And if I was in those moments, I think those moments of change might have been a little bit easier for me. And it would have also helped to, maybe not have quite so many pity parties that I had. It I really did lean on though that phrase of it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. All right. So I have some not personal, I have some business inquiry questions for you to help you understand and work with this 5 energy this month in June. So grab a pen if you haven't already done that. The first question is, where am I feeling a lack of freedom in my business? Financial, time, energy, resources. Where am I feeling a lack of freedom? Where am I noticing a lack of discipline in my business? Again, the same things. Financial, time, energy, resources. So when we're talking about where do I lack discipline, um, financial, I think that's pretty obvious. Like maybe we're not checking our reports. Maybe we're not even checking our bank accounts. Maybe we're not keeping track of our cash flow. With time, maybe I'm like scrolling way too much on my phone when I get up in the morning or, in between clients. Um, that's another place where I could be lacking discipline. That's just an example. Lacking discipline with my energy. I'm not I'm not adhering to my daily 30-minute walks or my workouts, whatever you do. And where am I lacking discipline in my resources? So, um, that would be more like kind of fighting outsourcing or kind of the help that you need that comes up like, oh no, I'll do it myself. And then you don't do it. So that is a place where we can lack discipline. The next question is, am I noticing when I'm choosing tasks that distract me? So this is an opportunity to pay attention to what your feelings are telling you. So if you're like, you got to do payroll or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, I just don't feel like doing it. And you pick up your phone and start, oh, I'll just check in a little bit. Or not finishing a big project that you've got going on. And then you start looking at, oh, maybe I'll do a new logo. That's a really great way of distracting you. It's a good example of distracting you with tasks that you don't need. Where do you find the most joy in your life? And this is more on the personal side, but this is important because if you're not feeling joy, you don't typically feel like you've got, this doesn't kind of lend to that freedom feeling. Um, okay, yeah. So where are you noticing joy in your life? Where do you find it? And where do you notice you're lacking joy in your life? What about freedom? Or sorry, what about adventure? Where are you lacking adventure? Where are you lacking play? Where are you lacking that like little kid kind of let's do this kind of vibration? What I would suggest now, this is more for this joy part, is if you're struggling with joy, and I have been there. Um, One of the easiest things to do for yourself is to like the brain does not when you laugh because you find something funny or you laugh ha 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 ha. The brain isn't it kind of tricks the brain. I'm sure you've heard like laughing yoga and laughter therapy, and you're kind of making these forced laughter, but it doesn't take too long where it's just so freaking ridiculous. It is funny. And it kind of gets the brain kind of going into that happy laughter, joyfulness feel. Okay. So one of the things that I did, and I did this when the kids were younger too, especially if they were having a hard time, was I would find funny YouTube videos. We would sit and watch silly cat videos or animal videos before school, just to try to start the day a little bit more positive than kind of what we were before. I still do that. And I think, even we kind of come across funny stuff on social media and share it. It's not as intentional as, like, oh, I need to pick me up. I'm going to go watch funny videos on YouTube. Do it, try it. It's actually really entertaining. And I watch videos over and over, like dying of laughing, tears streaming, like I can't see. So watch funny videos. If you like music, like put on some music and really loud and dance around. Like we're so used to being proper, which makes us quite unprofessional, which makes us kind of rigid in our bodies. So dancing is a great way to kind of get that energy moving. And dance silly if you can really get into it. If you've got little kids, get them to help you. They're so good at having fun and playing. Let them help you do this. Maybe doing a craft, any kind of play with your girlfriends. I was actually on social media. I'm part of like an RV camping group, and somebody was saying, "What do I do with like 4 kids in a tent on a rainy day? Like, I need ideas." And this one lady posted a whole bunch of ideas, like stomping around mud puddles, walking around the forest, leading each other through the forest with our eyes closed for a little bit, putting something in our hand to guess what it is. Like there, there was such great stuff in that list. And one lady, she's like, I want to do all those things, and I'm 67. So we don't have to wait, for things to passively come our way. Let's create fun and joy uh, in our lives. It helps to kind of pump up that piece when we're maybe going through change and it's not feeling so great. We don't have to fake it. We just have to imbue little bits and try. One thing I know for sure is like and you know this too, is when somebody's happy and when somebody is feeling joyful, man, that is like youth serum. So, tap into that. Joy is what gives us like physical sustainability. It gives us our longevity. So let's tap into joy this month and fun and adventure and play and try to grab those opportunities as much as possible. It will help offset the areas where you're lacking freedom. But it also does mean that we need to go into those areas where we're lacking freedom and explore what's going on. Okay, now I want to share our June power days, our numerology power days, and we got some good ones. So June 1st, we're going to start the month with a 6 energy day. And I'm also using cardology in this because this gives me another layer of information. So what we're coming into the month with is balance and harmony on that 6 energy day. But it's also a day it's a great creativity day. So what that tells us is that we're entering June. It's an invitation to enter June as a new path that is more in balance and harmony with your energetic code. Right. I love that about kind of entering on that 6 energy day. It's a 3 of spades card. This is where I'm getting that That kind of prompt of creativity. 3 is about amplified creativity. Spades, yeah, spades is about transformation. So putting all of those messages together is about carving a new path of balance and harmony for your energetic code, doing it creatively. On the 6th of June, we've got a new moon, and a new moon is about fresh starts, new beginnings. It's our monthly reminder of checking in. What do we want to do fresh starts on? What's new beginning? What's calling us? It's also a 2 energy day. So I think this is a really great day with that kind of fresh start energy to do something, start something new and fun with someone. Maybe it's a girlfriend, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's with your kids, but maybe it's a craft night, watch a comedy movie or a TV show, or go vintage shopping. If you love sports, join a softball team or whatever kind of team that you like to do. So that new moon with this 2 energy to it is prompting us to try something new with people in the 5 energy month and make it fun. On the 9th of June, we've got our first 5-5 portal. So it's a 5 energy day and it is a 5 energy month. And that energy that day is really about getting out and playing. Anytime we've got a 5-5 portal, you are not going to want to work. You are going to want to get outside and go do some fun stuff. However, on this particular 5-5 portal, it's the 9th, it's a Sunday, you're not going to want to be inside. But I'm here to remind you that you get to go outside and play when you want, when you have systems and structure and foundation in your business. So making sure that you are being, kind of financially responsible with your business. Now, hopefully in May, you did some work on that. That allows you in June to be able to let those systems and those processes just run on their own. And you can actually get out, enjoy yourself, and not have to feel guilty that you're not in your office doing your admin things. Okay, that's so much about the 5 energy this June, is like not wanting to sit in the office and do office work, especially on those 5-5 days. Let's see here. Then we have another 5-5 portal on June 18th. Now, this one particular, again, this is about freedom and discipline, this 5-5 energy. This day is more about kind of paying attention to your responsibility and your mastery around your thoughts and beliefs and communication around your freedom and discipline. So this is a day to be checking in with your thinking about discipline and freedom, and what kind of relationship do you have with discipline and freedom? And maybe they need to make friends. So, that day is in particular is about being responsible with that. June 21st is our solstice, our summer solstice. And in our Soul of Spa Business membership, that will be the first of our spiritual summer camp activities. And I'm going to be holding a summer solstice ritual in that membership. So if that's something you're interested in, leave me a comment, send me a DM, send me an email, Kirsten@kirstenfoss.com. It's also on my website under coaching. You can check out the information about the Soul of Spa Business membership. But it's summer solstice, like it's a big day. It's summer solstice, it's a full moon, it's an 8 energy day, and it's a 9 of clubs day. So I'm going to break that down for you as far as what it means. So the summer solstice is like we're at our peak of fullness. So it represents that kind of peak. It represents abundance. It represents growth. It represents like the fullness and the fire of the sun, the energy of the sun. So with solstice, it's a celebration, but that's what the kind of spiritual energetic meaning is around it. It being an 8 energy day, again, we have another layer of fullness, abundance. And it's really about, blending it with the solstice. It's about that, and the abundance of that kind of fire within energy, that sun energy. The full moon is about releasing. We've done this quite a few times. It's our monthly reminder to, okay, we get to choose again. What are we ready to release? Maybe something we weren't ready last month. We're ready this month. And In particular, on this day, like on solstice, this particular full moon, I feel like it's more about like we've already done a whole lot of releasing. And this is kind of like it feels more like graduation, like it's really done. Like it's like the really big stuff. We've done a lot of really big stuff. So with the full moon, I would say, like for me, this is going to be just a nice reminder, an honoring of how much I have learned, how much I have grown, how much I've let go of in order to move forward. We can't keep collecting. It gets heavy. We have to let go of stuff in order to move forward. This is a big full moon release about really acknowledging all the stuff that we've gone through and where we are right now. It very much feels like it'll be like a graduation day type of energy, particularly about moving past those limiting beliefs. So our solstice celebration is going to be, imbuing these aspects into our ritual. All right, the next power portal day is June 27th. That's my mama's birthday. It's another 5/5 portal, and this particular one it's like a wild and free, let's get out and get creative kind of day. So that's on a Thursday. If you are working and already committed, that's okay. Make sure you find something in the evening to do that is fun. Um, and if you have the day off or you have the possibility of the day off, I would actually recommend blocking off the afternoon and doing something super fun and adventurous, to really ride the wave on that freedom feeling, adventure, excitement kind of energy. All right. Then the last day we've got to talk about is the 30th, the last day of the month. I always like to talk about how we're coming into the month and then how we're exiting the month. It's kind of like a little container for us. So we're leaving the month on an 8 energy day with the King of Clubs. And this is, I think I'm looking at this very much as like you've done your inner work, and there's an opportunity for the thought leadership. Have you thought about that yet? So it's an invitation to kind of on the 30th to look at where you're at with your inner work and what have you learned. So remember earlier when I said that, I was making reference like change is hard. Um, we are change makers. You are a change maker. This month will activate all of that. We'll want to be like making change for people, for ourselves. We'll really, really want that. But here's the thing. If we're not aware of this concept of change and freedom through discipline, the change can feel very disruptive and difficult and very painful. And so, what I would like for us to do here with having a deeper understanding of the energetics of the 5 energy and around change and freedom, that when we have this awareness, we can identify when we're experiencing the high and the low vibration and be able to course correct or augment as needed. Okay, so we've got lots going on for June, lots of energies going on for June. If I always love to write, I was even before I was numerologist, I always had a calendar, like just kind of the old calendars you get given from the real estate agents and stuff. Or I've also had these little guys, little pocket ones. I like something I can write in, not the digital ones. Um, so what I would recommend is if you want to listen to this again and go through and mark these days and use like actively use them rather than kind of passively, oh, today is an 8 energy day. Try working with the energy and you will find you kind of have this, there's a much easier flow with what you're doing. Literally, it's go with the flow. Okay, so that is June's numerology, business numerology forecast. I'm super excited about the 5 energy, as much as disruptive as it can be, because I know it also has so much freedom and fun in it. So I encourage you to work with the energies as much as possible. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. And also, please, if you want to join us for the Soul of Spa membership, we've got our meeting, our next June meeting is happening on Monday at 10 a.m. So in that meeting, I'm going to dive deeper into the five energy, and specifically with our members, go through and talk to each member about like what's coming up for them with this five energy, how do they want to work with it, and giving them suggestions to move forward with that. The Solo Spa Business membership is also a safe place for your woo-woo weirdness. I know that it's hard to find a place sometimes to be able to talk about spirituality and business, and especially like in the beauty business, it's kind of unique. So you can be as weird as you want in there. We are into all sorts of stuff. We do some tarot. We do, of course, numerology, oracle decks. There's all sorts of, our members have all sorts of modalities that they, like spiritual and holistic modalities that they bring to the table as well. So it's a really wonderful group of women so far. So it's essentially the goal of the Soul Spa business is to bring heaven to earth, blend the spiritual with the practical, tactical pieces of your business, so that we can live in our business like with our fullest self and our soul present, and actively co-creating with it. It's so much fun to do that. And also, if you're joining in June, you get to be a part of our spiritual summer camp activities. So like I said, this June, I'll be holding a summer solstice ritual for the membership. And then I've got some fun things that we're going to be doing in July and August as well. So if you are interested in really truly aligning your spa business and your leadership development with your soul path, please come. We would welcome you in. For the rest of you, this is it for our forecast. And our next forecast will be July 1st. We'll see you then.